Hey, everybody, what is up? This is Breaking the Cage. This is Matrix Minds Media, Astrology TV, and this is Breaking the Cage. I am the host, LSF, Bells, or as Matt likes to just call me, the Shaman. Now, this is where I give you the energy forecast for the incoming energy, and it is supposed to be the incoming energy for, typically when I do Breaking the Cage videos, it's just for the week. But you want to apply some of this information that I'm going to be giving you to the next 6 months, because we have a solar eclipse coming in. Now, I'm going to go over a couple things first before I start to really get into the energy and the blueprint as far as what it's doing to the body. And that's because I'm allowing some people to come in, as well as I do apologize for anybody who does make any comments. I don't have my other phone here or anything with me, so I cannot see the comments that are coming in. And I will go back and I will read them later. Now, excuse me. With that being said, this is for April 24th through May 1st. And I want to remind everybody, like I said, of the solar eclipse that's coming in on Saturday. So it's jacking up the energy a lot. But there's twice as much energy going to be getting jacked up with that. And I'm going to explain here in just a few. But first off, if you do like these videos, you do like this show, please scroll down the information and then go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe and like it so that you can get any other videos that I put out, because in the beginning of the month sometime shortly, I will start doing home light security readings for all signs again. And I always do them sun, moon, and rising. And I remind everybody when you're checking them for your monthly forecasts to understand, moon is by your emotional standpoint. Rising is from your three-dimensional and your manifestation standpoint, because it's like the surround of all of your energies. Okay, with that being said, also with the solar eclipse coming in, I want to throw out there that I do have an Etsy shop, everybody. And the Etsy shop is LSF Sanctuary LLC. Now, the reason I'm throwing that out there, for one, is for all the Matrix Mind Media people. If you purchase something, make sure that you use the coupon code Matrix Minds at the end of when you're purchasing it, because it will give you an additional 20% off. Not on all products, but on many of them. As well as I have plenty of essential oils. I have baths. I'm constantly putting new products in the store. But Spirit was reminding me to state that, we have Psychic Sponge, which is for all of you who consume energy too much and haven't completely understood how to break it down and transmutate it out. I do have that in a bath, a spray, and an oil. And all of my oils come with fulgurite inside of them. So it has a little bit of that connection with source energy, with the higher dimensional energies, and it's going to help you in many ways. But I was also being told to say, for many of you, I have what I call astrological attunements, which is a line, and Rahu would be one of the north node and the south node. And I have Rahu that apparently many people are going to start needing that, because that Rahu oil is all about breaking the patterns, shifting them, making sure that the karma that is coming at you is karma that you want, karma that you're creating. And the reason I'm leading with that as I go into, the energy that we're starting to look at for like the next 6 months is because Spirit is giving me panda medicine, and I will go over that in just a second. But they're also saying we need to start seeing karma from a different point of view. Karma is not always a bad thing, but it can be. It depends on your vibrational frequency, honestly. And it's more or less the return of the vibrational frequency. Now, with the energies that are going on with this solar eclipse, not to mention Jupiter is moving in 3 weeks, and you have Saturn, which is not Saturn, Pluto, which is going retrograde. We're starting to look at a lot of karma. Okay. And like I said, Spirit is saying it's not necessarily that it's a bad thing, because a lot of people see karma as a bad thing, but it's nothing more than the vibrational frequency from which you were working at returning to you, telling you if it's something that needs to be healed because it's not very good or very high vibrational, or if it's low vibrational. Now, with us having solar eclipses, a solar eclipse, this is illuminating the next 6 months. But Jupiter is also making a move for the next 6 months here in 3 weeks. It's going to be, so you're at, like, when I say a planet leaves a sign, it's kind of like at that, like, retrograde-ish shadow energy. It's at the last little stages of going, yo, have you got the memo yet? Have you got the message I'm trying to teach you? And it's going to jump out of Pisces. It's going to jump into Aries until October. And then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces through December. So right now it's kind of going, yo, have you learned this? Because we're trying to move forward, assess the situation, and then come back and see what we still need to clean up before we truly move forward in January. So you're looking at serious, deep-seated karma issues within ourselves, within the healing of our 12th house. And what Spirit is telling me is a lot of this healing and purging and cleansing that we are going through is kind of more like when I explain the lotus flower, because it's one of the dwarf planets that I use. And I use, when I explain the the lotus flower is one of the most highly spiritually evolved flowers and symbolisms that we use. But it didn't get that way just because it was made that way. No, we see it that way because, for one, the lotus flower grows in the swamp. It grows in the nasty, murky, frothy middle land. And eventually it breaks through to the air and to the light. And then eventually it grows a little bit more and it comes into its blossom and its bloom. Okay, now what Spirit is saying is, honestly, we're getting into some, not just, our inner healing in this life. Some of them is past life, but some of this is, passed down from, lineage through ancestral, not being healed. It's fears and damages that individually our souls, ancestrism, for a better word, is more or less unhealed energies that keep just returning, keep being recycled. And we're starting to see really into that frothy middle land, or as I like to call it a lot of times, when you're dealing with the tree of life. As above, so below. When you're dealing with the tree of life, we often see this energy as, in the idea as above, so below. But the way I'm trying to break it down is, when, as a shaman, we go into additional realms. And I like to call these realms the wastelands. But another way of looking at it would be like the mycelium network that goes around the tree of life. So we're getting into where the wires aren't lighting up, aren't crossing, aren't getting healed, and where the mycelium network isn't able to produce healthy new, because our patterns, our directions keep her going the wrong way. So we're seeing this, and I'm going to explain this much deeper in a minute, but I want you to understand this is a very powerful time, very powerful time. Now, with all of that being said, Spirit was saying also that for this week, yes, but in general, kind of apply some panda bear spirit guide medicine to your diet. Hold on. But panda bear is known for abundance, for one, for appreciation, for playfulness, but it's known for the slow progression, taking its time. It's not going to happen like this. Slow progression, gentle strength, giving yourself the love, the dignity, the support, the pat on the back, the time, the value you need to yourself so that you can go through this transition. It's also speaking to us of enjoying life and nature itself, which then Spirit says you need to apply that individually into each person's life. You need to be applying that panda bear medicine, that gentle process, that gentle support and love and security to yourself in your own personal 5th and 6th houses, whatever they may be, because I can only give you here on Breaking the Cage from a universal standpoint. But if you know your astrology, then you need to apply this energy to your 5th and your 6th house. And there's actually a reason for that, because the 5th house speaks to us of our creative expression, our enjoyment of life, our fun zone, as I like to call it. It's our inner child, our inner creativity, but more importantly, it's what makes you tick. What do you enjoy about being here? What do you enjoy doing? What makes you enjoy being here? What is it that you want to be, want to do, want to express yourself? Artists, I say this all the time, artists, whether they're, a painter, whether they're a magician, whether they're, a dancer, whether they're, no matter what the art is, they need to do those things. It's how they express themselves. It's how they get something out of them and out and give it to the world. And it's something that is needed in their soul. So what is it? Like sports people, they do all their time in there practicing, training and stuff. So what about it makes you enjoy being on this earth? Makes you enjoy being here? And are you having the time for it? Are you making the time for it? Because it's important. And then we move into the 6th house, which is our diet. And remember, our diet, our 6th house is more than our diet. It is our daily mundane task. And I say all the time that you're mundane. There's nothing mundane about the mundane. It's just that you overlook it because you do it so repetitively that you tend to overlook it, which makes it mundane. But it's not. And in a form, that 6th house is the diet, but the diet of energy, the people, the places, the things of energy that you consume, whether it's food or memberships and groups and what you do with your day. You are consuming energy, and are these energies helping you express yourself, coming to the deep soul and allowing it to shine and glow and tell the world who you are? Are you able to evaluate and figure out who you are and express this and get into your fun again and get away from the fear and the anxiety and the doubt and the fear, because you're allowing the inner child to help you create. Now, with that being said, like I said, you're to add panda medicine, which is that abundance, that gentle strength, that slowing down and allow the process to take its turn, take its time, gentle love, playfulness, enjoyment of life. Get really deep within that 5th and 6th house. And remember to value yourself and accept yourself as you go through these changes. Now, as I get into the North Node and this. No, as I get into first, let me speak about Jupiter before I get into the blueprint, which is the human body. You have Jupiter, like I said, that's going to be moving in to Aries. I think it's on May 10th. So you got 3 weeks left of this. And the energy is really, Jupiter is abundance. It's abundance, it's higher knowledge, but it's in the 12th house, folks. The 12th house is all of the grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, our denials. So it's going, what have I been trying to get through to you all year? You know, that I'm trying to teach you, but I got to jump into Aries here for a little bit and assess the situation of what's going to go on there next year, for the next 6 months, and see what hasn't been healed so that I can figure out how to adjust what still has to be healed so we can move forward the following month. So we're really starting to, soulfully, Jupiter is backtracking, going, yo, this is what's important and why. Where's the grief, sorrow, shame, blame? Where's the insecurities? What is it that you're not touching face to face with that's still in your shadow? And how do I need to heal it? Remember, that's also where it's moving into Aries, like I said, where it's going to start building the karmic abundance, the brand new cycle. But here's what you really need to understand. This eclipse energy and this Jupiter movement and Pluto movement, because Pluto is about to go retrograde as well. This isn't just here and now. Jupiter moves through a sign every year. So it takes approximately 12 years. So you are reflecting. This is a time of not just remembrance, but this helps you to understand the message and the healing that's trying to take place. Because something of some form, a person, an idea, something that hasn't healed, something you haven't gotten closure on from when it was in Aries in 2010 and 2011, because it was half year of both. Something, people, places, things, something is coming back. Just like any retrograde, something returns. So something is returning from 2010 and 2011 to help shine a light on where the proper healing didn't take place the first time around. Not to mention, back in 2011, it was dealing, Jupiter was dealing directly with Pluto not entering, but it was still at the beginning. It hadn't really moved far in. Beginning the first 10 degrees of Capricorn. So it was at the beginning of the lesson. We're now at the end. We're at the end of the lesson for Jupiter here in Pisces before it leaves and then retrogrades again and comes back. We're at the end of the lesson in the next year and a half of of Pluto being in Capricorn, as well as the South Node and the North Node. Where were they? They were in the same energies in 2013. So you're looking at energies from 2010, 11, 12, and 13. Something within that 4-year period, you're seeing residual karmic returns going, hey, this is what's healed, but this is where the hiccup is. Or this is what you still need to work on that is returning. So if you're seeing things come back to you within that 4-year period, and especially with Jupiter getting ready to move, because North Node and South Node, like I said, were there during 2013, but Jupiter is just now getting ready to move. So these things are starting to now return and come back from 2010 and 2011. And some of you may already be starting to feel this if you go back through your life and you figure out what was going on in those years. You also had Chiron and Neptune Neptune's been in Pluto for, not in Pluto, Neptune's been in Pisces for quite some time. But again, it was in the beginning decan. It was in the first 10 degrees. So was Chiron. So this is not just, see, and this is what I'm trying to make you guys understand before I get into the blueprint and before I get into everything else. These are the seeds for the age of Aquarius, okay? These were the seeds being placed. Here are the first upfront in your life karmic returns, healing messages, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, and denials that we keep within us, that we hold ourselves down, we hold ourselves responsible for, we let it weigh us down, and then we tell ourselves denial lies to tell ourselves that the life we've been living or the way things were was acceptable. The beginning of those seeds being broken were starting in 2010, 11, 12, 13. You're at the end of the cycle. Neptune is at the end of Pisces now. Pluto is at the end of Capricorn now. Jupiter is returning and going through that cycle and starting a new one again. So are you getting the message to start the new cycle? To bring that age of Aquarius into your life, because that's what you've been doing for the last, 11 years, 8 to 11 years. You've been breaking the age of Pisces in your own personal life, even if you didn't know it. And this is what you're addressing now, is what still has to shift. Because I'm telling you, it's not going to finish this year. We still have a lot more deeper, sicker, twisted things inside of ourselves where we have problems giving ourselves acceptance, love, value, approval, help. We're learning how to not make that foreign to us anymore, but to allow it to bring us light. Not just light as in smiling and happiness, but light, not feeling weighed down. We're learning to break the cage that kept us enslaved to our own selves, our own denials. And you're seeing much of these energies coming back going ding, ding, ding. Here's the spot. It may not be the same situation, but it's going to have a similar vibe. All right. Now, as I move into the blueprint, there's a whole lot going on still, because not all the planets move fast. So it takes a little bit of time. So you may have heard me say a lot of this, but a little pieces here are changing. You have the blueprint, which still has Chiron, but Chiron is now literally this week in the frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe is speaking to you of your planning, your problem solving situations, your motivation, your judgment, your decision making, your impulsive control, your social behavior, your personality, your memory, your learning, your reward, and your attention span. This isn't just third eye. This is what I'm trying to get through to you guys. The mainstream has taught you guys so wrong. It's not just third eye. There's also the forehead. There are separate chakras, but this is going directly into this energy of that brain and what these are doing about your self-motivation, your self-oriented action, your self-acceptance, and acknowledging where that's playing out within the problem solving, your planning, your judgment. Chiron's the wounded healer. This is going to be, again, touching base on those areas in which it's easier to follow suit of what you've always done instead of brave-heartedly step forward into a new tomorrow. And that was them. You have the Sun, Uranus, and Mercury in Taurus, which are literally still in the vocal cords, the throat, your jaw, your nasal bone, but it's also coming into your vision. And your south node is also in the throat, in the nose, in the nasal bone itself. This has to do again with I said last week, are you breathing in healthy vibration that helps lift you up? Or are you breathing in the pollution of all the negativity around you? And we are talking about the throat energy, which is the second house, which is also the chakra of the throat, and being able to express yourself, hear, see. Spirit is also saying the nose knows. So whether it's, that goes back to panda medicine. I'm sorry. Let me go back for a second, because the panda medicine also pandas also speak basically with their verbalizing, expressing the self, and scent. But Spirit is reminding me with that at this time that also has to do with, like, how a cat marks its territory, or other animals mark their territory. Well, so do panda bears. And they're saying that it's your diet. Are you marking that 5th and 6th house, your diet, your expression? Are you marking your territory in these areas? Are you marking what is important and sticking to it and bringing it to you in that form? Sorry, I had to go back and check that out. But that makes sense, because when you're looking at the throat chakra, it's also got the south node in it, which is Scorpio energy, but Scorpio energy has the nasal for breathing in, and then the throat, which is Taurus. Scorpio only has the nasal in its astrological anatomy. The rest of it is the reproductive system. But this is also having to do with, think about it, it's reproductive, it's life, death, rebirth. Well, if you can't breathe, what are you breathing in? Scorpio, south node, everything you're good at, but it's not good for you. So what are you breathing into your life? And in your self-expression of the Taurus energy, from the Venus aspect, from the Neptune aspect, from the Jupiter, and its last little bit here, it's also asking you, in the throat energy, what are you expressing? Where are you getting caught up? Where are you choked up? What are you not hearing? What are you not seeing? This is also speaking to us of the zeal point, not just all the third eye or the throat. The zeal point is what's back here. And this is the channel, actually, that allows higher or lower vibration to work through you. So if it's getting clogged with the negative, because all you're breathing in is the pollution, then it's going to allow those headaches that you get to come into the ears and the lower back of the head. This is why it's very important for us to understand, like I said, we're at the end of a many year lesson. This isn't just, this month or this year. We're coming to a lesson that's ending, that's taken us all the way from 2011. Now you also have the Sirius energy, which is in the arms. And it's especially in the upper arms here. And this is where we hold frustration and anger. But this is also where it comes into the neck and the throat chakra, because it has the muscle that allows us to move our arms, which holds on to the I coulda, shoulda, woulda, where the heart and that supernatural highway with the third eye and the head start having a conversation and start fighting and butting heads. I could have done this. Well, what if I had done it that way? I should have done this. No. I coulda, shoulda, woulda just causes more anxiety. So when you catch yourself in it, you have to 360 that the other direction and get out of it. But be aware as to why you put yourself in it, so you understand what you're breaking, what habit you're breaking here. Understand also that that's just plain and simply the twins energy of Gemini, the yin and the yang, the positive, the negative, the masculine, the feminine. because a lot of this is having to do with coming into peace with yourself and coming into balance with yourself. Lilith again is in Cancer now, and is in the 4th house chakra, 5th house chakra, 4th and 5th, protecting the home, protecting the vessel, protecting the source. But she's not very strong here. She's very easily manipulated here. She's very submissive here. So this is saying, are you truly checking in with you, or are you playing a very, I don't want to say deadly, but I guess I do want to say deadly, a deadly game with your source energy? And it's not like you can lose your source energy, but the fact is, it's yours. Your authentic self is you. Why not locate it? Why not be it? Why not allow it to flow through you like water? Why not regain it and bring us back to everything that we are, we should be, we were, before this world tainted us? And that has a lot to do with, specifically with your blueprint. Now, you have the knees, which may still be acting up because Jupiter is at the end of, not Jupiter, Pluto is at the end of its, still has a year and a half left, but the knees for the next year and a half, especially when they start, locking up on you, there's a message there that's dealing with insecurities, dealing with inferiority, dealing with jealousy, anxiety. You have Saturn and Aquarius right now. This is a big deal too, because this is your ankles and the bone from your knee to your ankle. The ankles are like what allows your feet to rotate and take you where they must go. How many of you are starting to get tripped up, walk into things, slip, stub your toe? A lot of that has to do with the energies of where you're going too fast and you're not actually bringing the healing forward. Because, like I said, then you have Pisces energy. Pisces is the feet. It's responsible for everything and everywhere you go. And whether you walk yourself into healthy places or unhealthy places, ultimately, they are the ones to blame. And they are what will trip you up, because they know better, even if you don't. So I'm just giving you ideas of what I do with that blueprint energy and help you know how it helps you heal the body itself, not just the mind or from an astrological point of view, but I'm bringing it to the actual inside of the body and applying it. When I do individual blueprints, I go directly as to what it is for you individually. Now, as we get into this week, let me have a sip of my drink real fast. This week, as we approach this eclipse, the moon is going to be going through Pisces, then through Aries, and into Taurus, where it will have the eclipse at the end of the week. And it will not be getting along more or less with that South Node, which is your identification, your self-awareness, your physical body, your appearance. The Spirit said it's also going to do with some of you with your self-worth, as well as for some of you your money and your value. So this is a moment of, ain't nobody, if you want to lift you up, don't be waiting on Prince Charming to come and lift you up. This is the time that you need to love you and lift you up. Because nobody can love you better than you, but you first have to accept loving yourself, your value, your worth, and find that dignity and give it to yourself. And this energy is kind of like, well, maybe. No, that's not going to get you anywhere in life. I might feel good about doing it. No, this is time to get out and push that self-assertive energy forward, believe in yourself, and just keep on rolling with the times. And I'm saying it because, like I said, the energy is set this week to not fuel you very powerfully. It is, but it just has so much of a, it's that Piscean energy of maybe I can believe that it's going to be this way. Maybe I'll make it up to do that. No, that's the illusion and delusion and that Pisces energy. Let me first start off with this. You have a lot of sextiles this week, which are very positive. But the problem with sextiles is opportunities. But you get to that, I can wait. It'll be all right. No, it won't. Because the sextiles are happening now. So the opportunity is there now. It won't be there later, but you're feeling like you have the opportunity to go after it any time. And this is why I'm saying this is the time to definitely step into this energy. You have the South Node, the North Node, Uranus, and Mercury in that second house of your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your money house, your manifestation house, and it is sextiling Jupiter, Neptune, Mercury. Jupiter, Neptune, Pisces. Jupiter, Neptune, Venus in Pisces. Which is giving it, if I believe in myself, I can do anything. I really can. I can make anything happen. I can put this together and I can design this. I can create this. It is a good idea at this time to go after it. It is there. But will you be too lazy to get up and actually do it? Will you be like, I can get, like I went to the river yesterday because I want to start making daggers and I want to make them with driftwood. And then I'm going to use acrylic and I'm going to make them into orgone because everything I do is that. But I'm wanting to make daggers with them and stuff along that line. Well, if I want the driftwood, I had to get up and go to the river, which I needed. And this is what I'm trying to say. It could be something as simple as, well, hey, all you got to do is go to the river. You get driftwood anytime you want. Yes. But what the soul may need and the creative energy may need will be now. That driftwood will be there, but maybe the piece that made it just right might have drifted off. Sextiles are about opportunities. Don't miss them because you have time. That Jupiter energy, Neptune, and Venus energy, which is bringing that sensitivity, that creative magic, that spark and trust of liberation and soulfulness that's coming from the second house and the manifestation and the money zone. It's all getting along with Pluto going, yes, we can turn a new leaf. We can do something new. We can create. Though I walk through the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I can do this. I can show the world who I am. And it is getting along with the South Node of going, I can overcome what I've always done and make the changes by abundantly shifting the rules. But will you do it? And I'm telling you that because the way I'm going to explain the rest of it is showing you why this is set up for you to believe in you. This is all I can say is, like I said, for the last couple of weeks, you've been being weighed and measured. Will you be found wanting or will you go out and do? You have a tent. You don't hear about this too much in astrology. And a tent is made up of a couple, it's like two different things put together. And technically they're kind of like negative energies that point in a direction at exactly where to take it, so that you can make an abrupt shift and change. You can, in a form, start something new, give yourself a new home, pitch the tent for a new beginning. The first part of it, which I always find is the most powerful, because a lot of times I find this in astrology and spirit tells me to use it anyway, is when I start talking about combinations that technically aren't normally heard of, that spirit tells me. You have Neptune, Venus, Jupiter, which is not getting along with Mercury. And then Mercury is not getting along with Lilith. So your communication of your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your inner you, your inner self-esteem, your inner emotional security is in doubt. Do I really have what I have enough to do? Will I measure up? Well, if you keep thinking that you won't, you won't. But we all learn from falling on our face. You have to get out and try. You have to give yourself the opportunity to believe, to trust in your sensitivity, trust in your inspiration, trust in your intuitive nature, trust in your gut feeling. And even if you suck at it, at least you try, and maybe you'll learn how to do it better. But this is saying the only way you're going to re-strengthen that inner emotional security is by taking that chance, is by stepping out and trying. It is ultimately speaking to Neptune, Venus, Jupiter, the South Node, and Lilith. See, it was speaking to Mercury at first. Now it's speaking to another design, which is all headed towards that South Node again. This is saying if you keep staying with just the same old rules, the same old boundaries, the same old life, the same old patterns, nothing will ever change. The opportunity is there by testing the waters of your sensitivity to find out how to express yourself, to find out what it is that makes you so uniquely special. But you're going to have to find out where parts of you doubt it or think you're damaged in order to overcome that, and then find the new boundaries, the new destination of soul, the new liberation, the new manifestation, which also brings in your financial possessions. And again, this is speaking to you of, if you're not coming back into the possession and the power of you, well, then someone else ultimately will be. You have a T-square this week, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bunch of planetary energies that are not necessarily agreeing at how to come to the same idea. They're just having a disagreement. So it's not like it's comfortable energy, but it's Saturn in the 11th house. Saturn in the 11th house, the South Node in the 8th house, and the North Node and Mercury in the 2nd house. So this is not just saying about setting the rules, walls, and boundaries, but this is also saying, if you want, this is what I keep telling you guys, a lot of this all has to do with rules, walls, boundaries, alliances, and relationships. And if you're setting yourself with the alliances and the relationships that actually support you, pat you on your back, help put you back on your feet and put you back out there so that you can do it, as well as go, hey, yo, you're really, really wrong here. And is your friend and loving partner well enough to go, well, it's not working because of this, and this is probably what you're not seeing. Maybe you want to think about that, because maybe I'm right. You've got to be able to look into this energy right now. Like I said, Saturn is that 11th house. your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, but they're only going to come true if you're around the right groups, memberships, alliances. The 8th house is the resurrection of the relationships, the rebirth, the blooming, the redirecting that make them continuously continue in healthy forms. And then the 2nd house is your manifestation and how you're communicating with yourself and taking the chance to believe in yourself. You do have very unpredictable energy this week with the South Node not getting along. I mean, it is getting along with Neptune, Venus, and Jupiter, but it's not getting along with Lilith, meaning it's ultimately not getting along with strengthening your inner emotional security, with strengthening your core. It's getting along better with strengthening everything that feels like it's going against it. And what are you going to do with that? How will you behave with that? Will you allow that? Will you just cave in? This is a lot of what the next 6 months is, honey. Will you cave in? Or will you rise? Will you rise with the sword in your hand, showing the world we are here? Or will you continue the same old, and not break the pattern? This is breaking the cage. That's what we do. You also have the South Node, which is not getting along with Mars. A lot of this energy was similar to what was going on, slightly shifted differently, but similar to what was going on in 2010 and 11. The South Node, those relationships, the rules, the walls, the boundaries of the relationships, wasn't getting along with, it's not getting along with Mars. Mars is in Pisces now. Like I said, Mars is your inner warrior, but he's in water. It's kind of like I'm watered down. I'm stuck in a meeting. Yeah, I know. I'll do it after my nap. You have to muster forward right now. This is walking through the swamp. The sun is having very unpredictable energy with Saturn. It can illuminate it in a very positive way or a negative way, depending on where your mindset is. It is also not having very unpredictable energy with Mercury. Again, depending on where your mindset is. Are you breathing in vibrational energy that's going to help your mind, your heart, your soul rise? Or are you breathing in the pollution from all of the lower funk, and it's keeping you in the same old pattern? It's time to rise, guys. It's time to get on Starfleet. I love you. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.